Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and in this video I want to talk to you guys about a very specific perk that I heard we were going to be getting, but I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be this good. Now, kinetic weapons have been lacking for a while because we've got a lot of things for Void. We've got Incandescent, we've got Repulsor Brace, we've now got Destabilizing Rounds, we've got Volt Shot. Kinetic's been lacking. Well, we got a little love there, and this is called Kinetic Tremors. Now, I wasn't entirely sure how this perk was going to go. I hadn't really paid much attention to it. I got one of these and I was like, all right, I'll keep it. And then I went to go do a Lost Sector. And I was like, okay, I know when I try and make my videos for you guys that I try not to assume you have an exotic. Now, of course, if you're going to need a barrier weapon, Wish Ender is fantastic. It is so good. Arbalist, you can get that from the quest for newbies. It is like the new player exotic now. It's kind of nice that they're going to give that to you. Pretty decent weapon. A little bit of a nerf, but still probably pretty solid. I haven't used it yet, but because if I go to an exotic, Wish Ender's just better. But this is the Forsaken pack from the dungeon and the quest, so I know it's not easy. Now, there are times you want exotic in a different slot. Maybe you want a glaive, maybe you want a heavy, maybe you want any other thing that you want to use. And we know pulse rifles tend to be champion weapons. A lot. Like, they lean into pulse rifles a lot of the time, I think, because they're mid-range. There's a lot of them in the game. They're not too limited. They can work for a lot of different options. So we've got some potential here with this thing to be useful for quite a while. Now, specifically not just battle scars, because the perk Kinetic Tremors can also come on a couple scout rifles, which I think is where it's really good shine. Nameless Midnight on that one. Probably the perk combination that I would be looking for would probably be something like Keep Away and then Kinetic Tremors, because you've got Compulsive Reloader, but typically you're going to expend a decent amount of the magazine to get the perk to proc. Triple Tap would be another one if you can get it. But Keep Away is actually not bad, because if no enemies are within 15 meters, you get 10 range, 30 reload, and your accuracy cone is a little better. So all in all, you got some options there. But Hung Jury, when this thing is up for Nightfall, this is something you are going to want to grind. And specifically because this thing can go rapid hit, so reload speed, accuracy, or stability and reload speed every time you shoot and hit him in the head. And then on top of that, you can get Kinetic Tremors. And then if you get the Adept version, you can throw Adept Big Ones on there, and just, you can have a pretty solid damage weapon. Now, you can also get this thing on Buzzard. Not too excited about Buzzard. It's a sidearm. Sure. You can honestly probably do some work with this thing if you're like a beast, but in PvE, high level PvE specifically, being close enough to effectively use a sidearm, just not something I see in my future. But the other thing you can get it on is a revamped little battle scar here. Now, field tested, kind of cool. Defeating targets or dealing damage with this weapon gradually increases the range, stability, handling, and reload speed over time. Dealing damage. That's the whole thing you're going to do with this perk, because sustained kinetic damage to a target emits a shockwave that damages any nearby enemies, including the one you're shooting. Now, that could have been weak, I'll be completely honest with you, but I think Bungie did better than I expected, and I don't know if this thing's going to stay as strong as it is. I hope it does, because right now kinetic primaries, especially if it's not an exotic, need a little love. So for high-level PvE, this is actually a viable perk. On this weapon, you can get Shoot to Loot, and I think I actually probably got like as good of a roll as I'm going to ask for, because Shoot to Loot for PvE, if I'm doing damage with this, and then if I see a brick far away for a heavy weapon that I can just shoot and pick up, yeah, kind of hard to argue with that. So for battle scars, there's not really great options. Again, you could get Keep Away. You could go a little range on that one for the reload speed. You got Encore, you got Shot Swap, Perfect Float, Perpetual Motion. But if you could do Keep Away or Shoot to Loot, those are probably the two options I would go with here, paired with Kinetic Tremors. Now, this is an 1801 weapon. Yes, I do have my artifact bonus boosting me up a little bit, so I'm 1822. But again, it's not like 1810. So these will definitely hit different in the same activity. So when it comes to something like a Master Lost Sector, we know champions are going to be a thing we have to face all the time. You just do. And depending on if it's farmable, like one of these, you can actually get a pretty good run going. Now, as I said, if you're going to be really efficient, you could do something better. You could use this for an exotic, though, if you want to, for your unstoppable weapon, and then you like completely open up your middle slot. But if for some reason you're like, hey, I need a pulse rifle in the kinetic slot, I honestly can't think of a better way to go than this one. And you know, pulse rifles are going to be usable a lot of the time for many champions, depending on what the season is going to ask for. But even right now, Barrier is going to be Solar, Radiant, which depending on your subclass, easier or harder to get, but they don't really embrace Solar on all activities right now. Unraveling rounds, depending on your subclass, not easy. Volatile weapon rounds. You can get there, but again, it's not easy to guarantee that you get it. So we lean for barrier weapons on our weapon a lot for barrier breaking, and that's where this comes into play. And Kinetic Tremors, in and of itself, can break shields. Now, what this thing does is... basically, if you hit them 6 times, or if you hit 12 hits, now, they can be body, they can be head, and then a scout rifle, it's going to take 6 shots. That's why I think the scout rifles are actually going to be really good. Just need to try and get a hung jury with this on there. But this alone is actually still pretty good. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys in this Lost Sector on Master just what this will do to a barrier champion. Now, these guys will kind of light me up, so let me go in and set it up. But the idea is it's barrier champion. You know we're at 1840. We're at minus 20 for power level. So take all of those things into play. And I'm going to show you a kinetic weapon actually not suck, which is huge. So let's go inside. Now, just as an example, I can show you guys on this unstoppable champion. That's the unstoppable. That's the Kinetic Tremors actually doing its thing. Now, when this guy runs up on me, it's a whole different argument. And again, unstoppables, you're probably going to handle them in a different way. But that's actually Kinetic Tremors in action. After you're done firing, maybe you unload half your clip, it's able to work while you're reloading, while you're doing anything else. Now, on unstops, not as big of a deal, but on barrier champions, that's actually fantastic. So let me delete this guy, and then we'll get down to the barrier. I love this gun right now, by the way. Too much fun. All right. And I've got a video for this Lost Sector you'll see in the future, so. What's up, Mr. Cyan? How you doing, buddy? I can stun him. I'd like to take him out a little quicker if I can, just so I can get to the barrier champion a little more isolated. But again, even on this phalanx right here, I shoot a shield, and that does the damage for me. So it's literally just hits on the target, and that's where it's uniquely good. Now, barrier champions, it's extremely good for reasons I'll show you, but let me see if I can delete our friend, the unstoppable champion, before he ruins all the fun. Barrier guy hurts, so I just want to get him on his own. That's the main reason I'm kind of doing this right now. Focused Fury on a scout rifle. Not so bad. Especially as you pretty much have it as long as you reload. Okay. It should be just me and the barrier guy. Let me shoot this can before it explodes in my face, because I know it's going to. Alright, so barrier champion, he and I just hanging out. What's up, buddy? Trying to see if I can move them in the middle. Now, the goal of a barrier champion is to shoot them enough, and on Master, you'll see them basically have that health bar. Halfway through that first health bar, you're going to see him pop his shield. Very common thing that happens. But what happens is, you notice the actual burst from Kinetic Tremors was what actually broke the shield. Now, if I can time this right, watch. Didn't even have to do anything, and the Kinetic Tremors can break his shield. So if you get that timing right, it's going to be honestly pretty perfect. Put this on a scout rifle, I think it's going to be even better. But the damage I can sit here and do, this is just a kinetic primary weapon against a master barrier. And I'm taking him down pretty easily. Like, not hard to do. It helps you break any barrier champion. And I'll let his health come back so I could work on him a little more. But that is why this weapon's really good. And not specifically this weapon, it's this perk. Now, can you get it on Hung Jury? You're going to look for a Nightfall that it comes from. Or you're going to be focusing Vanguard Engrams into it if you can at least get one of those. If you can get the Adept version, bonus. But even the normal version, if you can get Kinetic Tremors on it, and then my goal would be Rapid Hit. Trying to get one of those would be fantastic. So, Kinetic Tremors. Very, very good perk, actually. It allows a kinetic weapon that is normally going to be in a legendary status to punch way above its weight in PvE stuff. Now, is this something you're going to get much use out of in PvP? Probably not. I cannot imagine this would be something good, because if you hit enough shot, if you hit if you hit 12 bullets, I think that's the amount you actually need. If you hit somebody with 12 bullets, they should be dead. Unless they're just in, like, super mode. And they'll be moving so fast it won't stick. Because, remember, the Kinetic Tremor happens at the location of the shot. So it's going to happen on the floor. That's why it can damage other people. But the area of effect, if you got enemies around them, what this can do for champion use in this season and future seasons, both on a pulse rifle and then on a scout rifle. If you get on a Hung Jury or Nameless Midnight, if you see Kinetic Tremors, my advice, keep it. Make sure you hold on to that weapon, because I'm thinking this is going to be one of those kinetic perks that gets to shine in a lot of different places in the future. So if you see this, hold on to it and experiment when it comes to Hung Jury and the Nightfalls. Unless I'm out of town, I'll try and shout that one out as well. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like below. If you've got a Kinetic Tremors, if you've tested it, if you think this perk is junk or you think it's amazing, let me know in the comments below. Would love to see your guys' thoughts about this perk. I'm really enjoying it. I think it gives legendary kinetic weapons actually a decent shot in PvE to have some use. So that's my opinion, but let me know what you guys think about it. If you want to find me on Twitter or Twitch, it's Ebontis over there, pretty much the same thing. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button and hit that alert bell. That helps my videos make it to you through YouTube, and also is a nice way to support me as we're climbing to 100K. We're not that far away. Thank you guys for all the support. Guys and gals alike, you guys have been amazing. We are not that far away from 100K, so thank you very much. Good luck on your grind, good luck out there, and I'll see you soon.